Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I wanted to do a summer inspired makeup look. I actually have a new palette that I want to try today. This is the Sigma Cor-De-Rosa eyeshadow palette, which I've actually had for probably a month now, and I just couldn't figure out what kind of video I wanted to film with this, so I figured that I would try it out today. I also have the new blushes from Persona Cosmetics, which I have used a couple of times, and so far I really like them, but I want to play around with them a little bit more. So yeah, I just wanted to do a summer inspired makeup look. I'm not sure where this is headed, but yeah, I have nowhere to go, but I want to get all glammed up, so I'm just gonna go ahead and get started. I'm gonna do my eyes first today just in case I have any fallout. So I'm gonna take my usual E.L.F. Putty eye primer in the shade Cream, and I kind of want to try the white shade just to mix into this because this is kind of close to my skin tone, but I feel like for more colorful eyeshadows I want it to be just a little bit lighter, so I'm probably gonna order that very soon. Like I said, I'm going to be trying the Sigma Cor-De-Rosa palette. I've never tried Sigma eyeshadows before, so I'm really excited to try this. And it does come with this dual-ended eyeshadow brush. On one side, it has the E38 diffused crease brush, and on the other side, you have the E54 medium sweeper. So here is the inside of the palette. I just really love the shade selection in here. I'm going to take the Sigma F40 brush and I'm going to dip into the shade Veranda, which is this light kind of cream colored shade. And I'm going to apply that from the brow bone down to the crease. Okay, next I'm going to take the shade Hybrid, which is this really pretty peach shade. And I'm going to take that on the same F40 brush. And I'm just applying that into the crease. That blends really easily. Next, I'm taking the shade Summer Song, and I'm going to take the E38 side of that dual-ended brush, and I'm going to start on the outer corners. And then bring it into the crease. I'm barely having to build up any of these shades so far. They're just really nice and pigmented, and they blend really easily too. I'm gonna take a little bit more of Hybrid, and I'm gonna use that to blend those two shades together. Next, I'm going to take the shade High Society. I'm going to take the E54 medium sweeper. I want to see how it goes on with a brush, since I normally just use my finger to apply my lid shade, but I want to see how it applies with this. I don't love the way it went on with a brush. I feel like it's just not very intense. So I'm going to do the same thing to the other eye, but I'm probably just going to go in with my finger. So I'm just going to reapply that, but I'm going to use my finger instead. Yeah, that goes on way better. I am going to deepen up the crease a little bit, so I'm going to take the shade Medallion and I'm going to apply that to the outer corners. I love the Sigma E25, especially for the outer corners. It just blends everything so easily. And then I'm going to take the shade Bare Root, and I'm going to use that to line my upper lash line. I'm applying that really close to my lash line. So I'm going to move on to my skin now, and I'll finish up the lower lash line when I'm done with that. I'm going to take the E.L.F. Matte Putty Primer, and I know I tried this in a recent drugstore video, and I didn't like it at all, but I decided to give it another chance when I was playing around with a bunch of makeup last night, and I kind of like it now. I feel like it did tone down the look of my pores and it didn't dry out my skin the way it did when I first tried it. So I'm gonna give it another chance. So I like to keep it right where I have really large pores, which is this area right here and in between my brows. I did use a retinol last night, so hopefully this isn't a terrible idea. I did have to cut down on how often I use retinol at night. I just feel like my skin is too sensitive for that, and I'm sure you can probably tell on camera, but my cheeks are looking red right here, and I've noticed that that happens when I use retinol. So I'm starting to give up on retinol, even though I do love the way that it tones down my fine lines. It did really help with my smile lines, but I don't know that it's worth it since I do get really red in my cheeks. So yeah, I'm kind of torn about that right now. For foundation, I'm going to take my usual L'Oreal Infallible Fresh Wear Foundation in the shade 460, and I'm going to mix a little bit of 475 into it. I'm also going to mix the Drunk Elephant D-Bronzi Anti-Pollution Sunshine Drops. These I purchased recently and I'm still testing them out. I don't know how I feel about it just yet. So I have 1 pump of 460 and then half a pump of 475 and just a drop of the D-Bronzi. Hopefully this matches. I have been in the sun a little bit more lately. Okay, that should work. And I like going in with a light layer because it does get pretty uncomfortable wearing a lot of foundation when it's really hot out. So I like to do 1 to 2 really light layers. Even if I don't get that much coverage, I don't really mind. I'd rather just even out my skin tone and conceal if I need to. So I'm gonna take my Pat McGrath Labs Skin Fetish Sublime Concealer in the shade LM8. And I'm actually going to mix it with the E.L.F. Hydrating Camo Concealer. This is in the shade Light Beige. I do like this concealer, but I just haven't used it very much. But I figured I would mix it with my Pat McGrath one today. So I'm going to take a little bit of the Pat McGrath one. This is super full coverage. I didn't really like it the first time that I tried it because it looked a little too drying on my under eyes, but I think I was just having like really flaky, dehydrated skin at that time because a lot of makeup that I tried about a month ago, I didn't really like. But lately, now that my skin has improved a little bit, I do like this concealer. And then I just took a little bit of the Hydrating Camo Concealer. So I have really been enjoying the Pat McGrath concealer. It does last a really long time as well. But I feel like now that I'm getting a bit of a tan, I am gonna have to get maybe like a shade darker than this. It just looks a little too brightening on me right now. Okay, so far I'm really liking the combination of those two concealers. The Pat McGrath one is more on the matte side and the E.L.F. Hydrating Camo Concealer is of course more hydrating, so I feel like they balance each other out. I'm going to set everything in place with the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Translucent Loose Setting Powder, and I'm going to take that on the Sigma Tapered Face Brush. This is the F25. So even though I am setting my entire face, I'm just doing a really light amount of powder, and I'm not going to bake or anything. I feel like I just can't really get away with baking anymore. I am turning 30 very soon. I definitely feel like my skin is not what it used to be. And I'm gonna finish up the lower lash line now. So I'm gonna take the shade Hybrid. I'm gonna run that along my lower lash line with a pencil brush. I'm gonna take the E.L.F. and J. Kissa J4 brush. And then I'm gonna take Summer Song and I'm gonna use that same brush. And then I'm gonna take Medallion and I'm gonna focus this on the outer portion of the lower lash line. And I'm just connecting it up onto the outer corner of the lid. And then taking the E54 medium sweeper brush, I'm going to dip into High Society, and I'm going to apply that to the inner portion of the lower lash line. And I think for the inner corners, I kind of want to take the gold shade, which is called Sun Sprite. I'm going to add a little bit right here as well. So far, I do prefer the formula of the Sun Sprite shade. I just feel like it's a lot more metallic and intense than High Society. So I did purchase this recently. This is the Velour Lash and Go Eyeliner and Lash Adhesive Hybrid. I did test this out last night, and so far I did like it, but I want to see how it works for me today because I do tend to change my mind about products pretty quickly. I don't know why I am that way, but okay, so I'm gonna get really close to my mirror. I should have started a little more towards the inner corner. I'm gonna take a little more. I'm gonna put it towards the inner corner now. So my camera stopped recording, of course, and I don't know where it stopped. So I did go ahead and finish up this eye. I think the lash is pretty much on. I'm gonna do the other eye, maybe off camera, just so that I can really focus. Like I said, you can't really mess up the placement or the liner comes off when you take off the lash. So I'm gonna do this off camera and I will be right back. So far, I do like this product. It's definitely easier for me to use this compared to other lash glues. Especially with one hand, I can't really apply the lash glue directly onto the lash band. I usually have to take it on either the back of my hand or on like the plastic container that the lashes come with. And then I just run the lash over the glue, if that makes sense. So this definitely makes it a lot easier for me to apply false lashes. So I'm gonna have to keep testing it out, maybe with other lashes. So yeah, so far I do like it. And I'm just gonna do my brows off camera because I feel like it's just really repetitive. And I'm gonna apply some mascara as well. So I will be right back. For bronzer, I'm going to take my Ofra Hot Cocoa Bronzer Highlighter Duo. And this one I'm not sure if I've actually used on my channel before. I might have used it maybe once or twice, but I do use it a lot off camera. So this comes with a shimmery bronzer and the Rodeo Drive highlighter, which is one of their most popular highlighters, and I really like both of these shades right here. And I am using the E.L.F. stipple brush. And I really like how this bronzer isn't super shimmery or glittery or anything. It just has a really nice sheen to it. I especially like pairing this with my cream bronzers, like the Fenty cream bronzer and the Milk Makeup one. They just go really well together. For blush, I have the Persona Cosmetics Super Blushes. Here is the shade Georgia. And I think I'm gonna go with this one. I have used this a couple of times and so far I really like it. I think it's super blendable and I actually like that they're not completely matte, but they're not shimmery either. They're kind of like that perfect in between. And then here is the shade Carmel, such a pretty mauvey shade. So I'm gonna take the shade Georgia. I think it is gonna go with this look. If it looks a little bit off, I am gonna take another shade over top of it. But let's find out. And I'm applying that with the F40 brush from Sigma. So just to tone down a bit of the peachiness, I'm gonna take this Essence, the blush in the shade Bespoke. So I'm just taking that right over top of Georgia. I know it looks kind of crazy right now, but I'm gonna take my Sigma F25 brush and I'm gonna try to diffuse that a little bit. Blush does fade pretty quickly, so even when I apply too much, I don't get that worried anymore because it does fade pretty quickly throughout the day. I want to add a little more peachiness to the eye look, so I'm going to take Hybrid from the Cor-De-Rosa palette, and I'm going to add a little bit more right into the crease, just to bring back a little more of the peachiness that I had when I first started the eye look. Okay, I really love the way this whole look is turning out. Oh my goodness. Before I go in with highlighter, I am gonna mist my face with the Milani Make It Last setting spray, which is my favorite setting spray at the moment. I just love this setting spray, and this is actually the large bottle, which I've really been enjoying since I do run out of the smaller one really quickly, so I'm really happy that they came out with the larger one. For highlighter, I'm taking Rodeo Drive from that bronzer highlighter duo. I just love this highlighter. I think this is the first Ofra highlighter that I've ever tried, but it's just so pretty on the skin. It doesn't like emphasize my texture too much, even though highlighter does that anyway. And I'm gonna take a tiny bit of the highlighter and apply that to my inner corners. That pretty much covered up the other shade that I had underneath. Didn't mean to do that, but this highlighter is super intense. So I went ahead and applied my lipstick off camera because I couldn't decide what to put on my lips. So I ended up going with the E.L.F. Seriously Satin Lipstick in the shade Nectar. It's just like the perfect peachy nude shade, and I feel like it went perfectly with this look. And that completes this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this summer inspired makeup look. If you did enjoy this video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you'd like to see more of my videos, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.